Hello all, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the LD only walkthrough series for Summoner's War. This is episode 64. See, I told you I'd still be making videos for Summoner's War. And I actually think we have a really good one today. So we're back on the LD only account. We're making a video. It's been 854 days since this account started. For those of you not good at math like me, that's 2.34 years. So two and a third years. And it's been a really fun account. So you can see we've gotten into G1 in Siege. We've been into C1 in RTA. We just haven't been able to stay there, and that's basically because of rune quality. But it's been a lot of fun playing. All my dungeons are below a minute except for Punisher's Crypt because that's the hardest dungeon to do for a light and dark only account. Someday we'll get under a minute on that, and then 40 seconds record on R5, and I could probably do better than that. I just haven't bothered. And then triple S on everything else. Highest one is 8 million on Light Beast. So the count's been doing well. And I also want to give a quick shout out to my guild. I actually switched guilds with my Light and Dark only account because I got invited to the Yin Yang guild, which is everybody in the guild is a light and dark only account and accomplished all content in the game using only light and dark units. And so it's a really fun account. There's a lot of people with OP LD5s here. They're a really good group of people. Really enjoy being with them. You'll see that in our guild notice, we're up to 617 LDs out of 1,000. So the entire guild is saving up LDs. And we're going to do one big giant summon session. So there should be either a live stream or a video that's coming out with everybody doing their LD only summons. So that's why I haven't made a summoning video for a while, because I've been saving up my summons. So I'm up to 6 all attributes. I'm going to get a bunch of the 11 years. I'll make sure I get all of those. And I've got 17 light darks plus another 10 in pieces. So I'm over 30 light dark chances. And we're going to keep saving until the event is, until the guild is up to 1,000. So it should be a really cool video. I'm looking forward to that one. But today we're here to talk about the 11-year anniversary Hall of Heroes, Choose My Own Hall of Heroes, which is a fabulous event, especially for LD only accounts. And we're here to rank, we're here to create a tier list for all of the LD4 Hall of Heroes that's available in this 11-year event. Now, this tier list will be made with the idea of helping LD-only accounts, but when possible, I will also make some commentary about regular accounts. Should regular accounts be going after these units? But we'll really be focusing on LD-only accounts, and then we're going to make the assumption that you don't have any good LD5s. Because it's really hard to get good LD5s in this game. I'm going to be making these recommendations to make your LD-only account much more useful and powerful, especially in Siege, and even a few of the units are useful in RTA. So let's get started on that. And so here's the tier list. Somebody has made up a 4-star LD Summoner's War 2024 tier list. So it's missing a couple of units, but all the Hall of Hero units are in this list, so we're just going to reuse this list. And so they chose OP and Build Multiple, which is a very good category for LD-only accounts. OP but Build 1, strong in specific content, decent unit, but often can be replaced by others, not commonly used. And so this little green category is basically the trash. And so I've organized the Hall of Hero units in the same order as they are in the event for the 11-year anniversary. And we're just going to go through each one and give you my commentary. So let's get started. In fact, this is kind of a labor of love because I recorded this tier list entirely the first time through, and my microphone and video screwed up. So that was useless. So we're going to do it again. Oh my God. Definitely still addicted to Summoner's War that I'm going to talk about this for an hour again. So here we go. Light Ninja, 30% speed lead, which immediately makes him useful. But his Skill 3 is trash. It's a 50% chance to strip and then a 75% chance to glance. He's an LD4. That skill should be better. Summoner's War has never addressed it. He's been like this for a while. So he's low on the list. A 30% speed lead can be useful, but there are other speed leads in this group that are just much better units. So Light Succubus is a really good unit for sleep. And she can do decent damage, but beyond that, she's really not that useful. And sleep is kind of a bad mechanic in Summoner's War right now. Not a lot of people use sleep teams. So good unit, just bad mechanic right now. Light Sylph is a fabulous unit for TOA and for Labyrinth and for controlling enemy teams. I even occasionally use him in RTA, but I found him being less useful up in C1 or Fighter 3. There are other units in my monster box that were just more useful. So really good unit. If you don't have him, highly recommend him for TOA and for PvE content. He's really good for that. Light Pirate Captain. I have him. I have not found a use for him. So we're going to just throw him in the not commonly used category. Light Death Knight is really good paired with the Light Warbear in a kind of a cheesy siege offense team. So he's strong in specific content. Beyond that, I haven't found a use for him. So good unit for pairing with the Light Warbear to do a bunch of damage and does a really good job. Light Perrier, she can do reasonable damage, but she's trash. I've not found a use for her. She needs a buff, so she's in the bottom. Then she's followed by Gemini, who goes in my top 10. So what I want to do with this tier list is come up with the top 10 recommendations in OP and build multiple. And Gemini's fabulous. I have multiple copies of him built. I use him in Siege in multiple different teams. He's at 19% speed lead. So his skill 2 is fabulous. It's AoE strip. It's only one buff, but basically if you're going against will runes, he takes him off. The skill can't glance, so his strip almost always lands. And then it also does a defense break. Now, it's only a one-turn defense break, so you have to have your damage dealer speed tuned right behind him. But fabulous unit. If you do not have Gemini, you've got to take him in the top 10, no questions. Okay, so Light Undyne is next. She has a full strip on skill 1 if they haven't fixed that yet. And she does do Oblivion, and there are very few units for Light and Dark accounts that do Oblivion. So we're going to put her as strong in specific content because she can be used against siege defenses that have a unit that needs to be Oblivioned in order to beat that defense. Other than that, I have not found any uses for her. Light Assassin also goes in that category. She's one of the few LD4s, or really LD3 or LD4s that silence. So if you need a unit to silence somebody against a specific defense, the Light Assassin is good for that. She doesn't do a lot of damage. She also has a defense break on skill 1. So she has some utility. There's just better units out there. Speaking of better units, Light Hat Boy is not a better unit. He's awful. We're going to put him down lower after we get rid of all these units because he's the LD4 that needs the most buff out of all of them. He's just not useful. I think there's a couple people in the Yin Yang Guild that found a specific use for him in a specific situation. Trash. Lu Mei is one of the better units. In fact, we're going to put her up in the top 10 for now. So with RNG, she can go crazy, especially if you put her on Violent. And she can be built really tanky, and she'll Revenge. Part of her skill kit is she'll Revenge when one of her skills is on cooldown. She's one of the few units that I use in siege defenses. So when you're in G1 Siege with a light and dark only account, it's really difficult to build good light and dark only siege defenses. She's one of the few units that can do that. So if you don't have her and you're a light and dark only account, I would make sure you get her. So she's paired with a speed lead, a shear, and then she's the damage dealer and the crazy RNG unit in that defense. Diva's next, light chakram dancer, and we're going to put her as OP. I've actually built 2 of her in over 2 years. She has a really nice AoE stun, and she can do damage by max HP on bosses. So if you're in a pinch and you need a max HP damage dealer, Diva's good for that. And she's actually pairs really well with Martina. So if you have Martina and you don't have Diva, then she is an excellent pick. In fact, we're going to put her up top in the top 10. If you don't have Martina, she's down here. But we'll put her up there for now. And at the end of this tier list, we'll remove any units that really shouldn't be in the top 10. Light Joker, absolutely in the top 10. AoE strip. Every skill he uses has the chance to, a 35% chance to place a bomb. And he strips with every skill because of his passive. Strip and place a bomb. Strip and place a bomb. He's amazing, especially when he's paired with the Dark Dryad. So you have Dark Dryad with a 24% speed lead. She does AoE strip. She does AoE attack bar pushback, AoE slow. Combined with the Light Joker, that's an amazing team. I pulled the Light Joker from Summons. I did not get him in the 10-year anniversary event. And I've been wanting to get multiple copies of him because I have multiple copies of the Dark Dryad. I don't have multiple copies of the Light Joker. I'm going to definitely pick him. And I'm going to build 3 or 4 or 5 bomb teams with that. Fabulous unit. I love the Light Joker. Light Pumpkin is a good unit, is a good damage dealer, has a really nice kit. I just have not built multiple of him. I use him occasionally in Siege and occasionally in some Labyrinth content or TOA. I don't think I've used him in TOA Hell, but really nice unit. Just there are better ones out there. Speaking of a really nice unit, Pang. So one of the things about this tier list is if there's a unit you don't really have a very good replacement for as an LD only account, Pang is one of those. So she has a fairly unique ability where she can increase the duration of debuffs and decrease the duration of bombs. She is in my Light and Dark only Punisher's Crypt team, speed team, which is about a minute and a half right now. It's the hardest dungeon for Light and Dark only accounts. So if you don't have Pang, she's OP for that reason, for that dungeon. And then she can be used occasionally in Siege offense, depending on what team you're going against. Cammy is a really nice bruiser type damage dealer that also self-cleanses and heals. She's a good unit. I don't use her a lot, but she's strong for what she does. So if you have a bruisery team that you need, now she can't really be a tank. She doesn't have very good defense, but she's a nice unit for an offense where you need kind of a bruiser that can also get rid of debuffs on her. So Light Gargoyle has a really nice light only HP lead. Pairs really well with the Light Martial Cat and Shushu as a siege offense. You go in, as long as the enemy doesn't have an immunity buffer, you can go in and AoE provoke the enemy. They'll all hit the Light Gargoyle and all their skills will go on cooldown. And that defense is basically done for then. You just use the Gargoyle and the Light Martial Cat on Destroy, and they'll take out that defense. There's not much that can stop it if they don't have immunity. So a really nice unit. In fact, actually, I'm going to put him up in OP. But I haven't built multiple of him because I have other units that are just too good in Siege. But when I see a bruisery defense that doesn't have immunity, I immediately think Light Gargoyle, Light Martial Cat, Shushu. that defense is done. Okay, so Light String Master is almost essential for TOA Hell for a Light and Dark only account. Her passive is amazing for that. That's the only use I've found for her. And I haven't really heard of anybody else in the guild that has found a use for her outside of that. But she's really good for that. So great unit if you are a Light and Dark only account and you're trying to tackle TOA Hell. She's almost essential for that. Lucas, the Light Neostone fighter, really good damage dealer, shields himself, so he's got some sustain or damage reduction with that, and great damage dealer. I actually don't have him. I will definitely be pulling him from this Hall of Heroes. But is he more important than other units in this Hall of Heroes? If you don't have him, maybe, maybe not. Depends on what you have. But great unit. Really like him. I have him on my main, and I've been using him on my main. I'm excited to get him for this from this Hall of Heroes event. Okay, so Light Poison Master is next. Not excited about this unit. His kit's a little odd. I have not found a use for him yet. Maybe after my buddies in the Yin Yang Guild see this video, they might go up to me and go, hey, you should use him for this, and then I will. But until that happens, I don't know how to use him. Light Barbaric King is amazing. He's a 24% speed lead and really good control unit. He's in my top 10. If you don't have him, he's got to be in your top 10. Great unit, really good damage dealer, 2-turn stun. You combine him with other control units, and it's really hard for that defense to come back. I sometimes use him with the Dark Dryad. I sometimes use him with Lauren and Fran, but great unit. Emily, Light Cannon Girl. She's really good. She's a really nice control unit. AoE attack bar reduction and stuns. And I actually use her in RTA right now. She's in my regular monster box with a couple of strippers, and she can help control the enemy team. And people ban her quite a bit. So we might actually put her in the top 10 and see if maybe she needs to come out. Light Samurai, great unit. Really nice base speed, good damage. But when Comtuos changed how the Samurais work and they removed the shield and the immunity, he became much less useful. That was a really bad change by Comtuos. I don't know why they did that. So they made a change, and both the Light and the Dark Samurai were super OP for like a few days. And then Comtuos realized they shouldn't have done that, and then they nerfed them, and the nerf was pretty hard. So we're going to drop him pretty low. Great unit if you need to outspeed somebody and do a little bit of damage, but he can't do a lot. Jasmine, the Light Bunny. I really like her because she has AoE cooldown, which is pretty rare for Light and Dark units, especially 4s and 3s. So I actually use her. I've been testing out a siege defense with her right now with Fiona, Ashir, and the Light Bunny. And that siege defense has been getting me some wins, even against regular accounts. So, but I don't see building more than one of her. And we'll have to see how that defense does over time. But nice unit, I like it. I like being able to use units that not a lot of people use. So Jasmine's cool. Madeline, Light Hammer Girl. She's really good for siege offense. So I have built a siege offense that includes Ashir, Madeline, and then Shren 2A. And so she does a attack buff, defense buff, and shield if she does her great ability to protect Shren. And it's a really strong team. It can nuke target pretty quickly. So we're going to, and I've actually built, so I actually have 3 of her built because I use 3 of those offenses. Don't always use them every siege, but I like having them available. She might need to drop down at the end. So this is the light gladiatrix from the Hall Heroes skill list. It's just the collaboration version. She has an interesting skill kit, but the activation is just not there. It's not high enough, so it kind of actually makes her kind of useless. Whoever thought of that skill kit should be applauded, but whoever thought of the activation rate should be fired. Dover, light cobalt bomber, he's in my top 10 for sure. Best bombing unit out of the light dark units, other than Gianna, but certainly best LD4 of the bomber units. Although, the light joker is competitive there. Really good unit. I use him. I got him recently from the Hall of Heroes when he just came out. And I got multiple copies, and I'm slowly working on building multiple copies of him. So, great unit. Love him. Luna, the Dark Perrier. We're going to put her in OP, but build one. She's amazing for giants to do massive damage to the boss and the mini boss. She really doesn't have any other uses outside of that. And her AI is really good, which is something that's rare in Summoner's War. So Luna's great. If you're an LD only account and you've been trying to get your Giants Abyss hard team below 2 minutes, below a minute and a half, she can help you do that. Okay, up next is Dark Hat Boy and Guillaume, or however his name is said. Really nice, strong damage dealer and has the ability to make people glance. So he's good in siege offense. So he can be annoying on defense, but I haven't. I've placed him in a couple of my siege defenses, and those defenses don't do well. So he's strong in specific content, siege offense, great damage dealer. Diaz, Dark Death Knight. He's really good for R5 for light and dark only accounts, and he's occasionally has niche uses in siege offense, and he can be used as a dark tank in siege offense. So he's really good for that. Outside of that, he doesn't have many uses. Lynette, the Dark Magic Knight, 19% speed lead, and she has the biggest heal in the game. Fabulous unit for those two things. Other than that, not very useful. So we'll put her in strong and specific content. I use her once in a while, but that's it. Dark Undyne. So for a light and dark only account, Dark Undyne is only useful if you have Ragdoll or Light Warbear. Those are the two units you can use her with to have them do really massive damage. Other than that, there's no uses for her. Rayan, the Dark Rakashasha. She's awesome. I love her. I use her in control teams for siege offense. I actually have 3 of her built. So we'll put her up in tier 1. She might have to drop down when we narrow it down to 10. Great unit. Dark Cobalt Bomber, Baron. Really nice unit. He's a bomber. Bomb teams are a little difficult to do unless you have Gianna, then they're quite easy to do. Good unit. Dover's better. Dover has a better kit. So maybe you build one of them. But Dover's just going to outshine him. Carl's awesome. Fabulous damage dealer. He needs almost no crit rate because his skill 3 is guaranteed to crit. So you can really load him up with attack and crit damage, and he can do massive damage. And his skill 3 also ignores anything that resists death. So Carl is a really nice nuker to take out Miho, for example. Fabulous unit. OP, but build one. I don't have multiple of him built. Dark Pumpkin has uses in siege offense. I sometimes even use him in niche situations in RTA. He's really good for Labyrinth. But I've built 2, but I only use 1. He's a nice unit. Camilla, Dark Ninetails. I'm going to put her in the top list. She's a fabulous control unit. So you pair her with Fran and Lauren, or the Dark Dryad in another unit, and Camilla can lock down the enemy team. She can do a two-turn sleep, and then if you hit that same target, it'll turn it into a 2-turn stun. So if you sleep one unit and you stun another one, they're both for 2 turns, and you've taken 2 units out of the game. So I use her almost every siege. She's a fabulous unit. Up next is Dark Gemini. When he got a buff and he could start sleeping units for multiple turns, he became OP for a little while in siege defense until people started figuring out counters to him. So he's really not that useful anymore. We're going to put him a little bit lower. Maybe he deserves to be up 1 tier higher. That's about as far as he goes. People have figured him out. Isabel, Dark Assassin, best LD4 in the game, I think. That's available through Hall of Heroes. So 19% speed lead. She self-buffs attack and crit rate on skill 2. And skill 3 can do serious damage. And if she kills something with skill 3, then she gets another turn instantly. So she's a perfect anti-Odin counter in Siege. You bring her with, so Isabel's the lead, then you bring Lauren and you bring Kabia. Typically you can outspeed if you have really fast runes on Kabia. Lauren strips and defense breaks Odin. And then Isabel self-buffs, uses skill 3 to kill Odin. Odin dies, he comes back. Isabel gets another turn. She hits Odin again, and he's dead. One of the best LD-only Odin counters out there. Fabulous unit. Love her. She's number 1 on my list for the Hall of Heroes. Dark Succubus is a really good unit for sleeping. It's just the sleep mechanic is not very useful in Summoner's War right now. If you get her, then you're going to also want to get the Dark Sylph. So he's a 19% speed lead and does 2-turn AoE sleep, and then she won't wake up those units from that 2-turn AoE sleep. They're a really good combo, but if you want to get Dark Succubus, get the Dark Sylph. Without the Sylph, I haven't been able to find a good use for her. So Dark Barbaric King, really, really strong unit. Can go nuts with his 40% chance to proc. Does good damage, good kit. We might put him in the top tier for now, and we might have to bring him back. Mani, the Dark Dice Magician, another fabulous unit that when he got his buff, he was suddenly in like every siege defense. But people have figured him out now, so he's really not that commonly seen anymore, especially in higher level G1. Good unit, limited uses. Dark Samurai, same as the Light Samurai, was fabulous before the buff from Comp to Us, and then when they removed his shield and his immunity, he really fell off. The only use for, we'll put him in strong and specific content. If you use Gemini, Dark Samurai, and Kabia against a team that you know won't have immunity other than will runes, it could be a nuke team for siege offense. Other than that, I mean, he could be used in like TOA or Labyrinth or something, but there are better units than him for that. So really sad. I loved the Dark Samurai before Come To Us messed with it, and he's just not that useful anymore. Dark Blade Dancer, one of the best strippers for LD4s for a Light and Dark only account. I really like her because she can AoE strip, attack power break, glancing, which makes the enemy team nerfed, so the enemy team can't do much to you. But she's fairly easily countered. She's not used in RTA much anymore, but she's really good for siege offense. So I still use her when I know the enemy is going to have immunity a lot. And her skill 2 is really good attack bar control. So OP, but I actually built 2 of them. I typically only use 1 per siege. Amduat is another unit that he's on the verge of being up here, but right now I put him down 1 tier, mostly because his strip is very inconsistent. Great unit to use against teams that are trying to control you. He'll come out of it a lot. His attack bar goes up every time a unit takes a turn on the enemy team. He's great for that, but his strip is just horrible. Dark Blade Dancer is the least useful of the 4 twins for LD only accounts. She has a decent kit, can do decent damage. There's some utility to her, but and I don't have her yet. I'm actually going to get her this Hall of Heroes. But for regular light and dark only accounts, there are much better options. The Dark Hypno Meow is such a cute cat. I love it. The problem is it takes way too much setup to do its ignore defense. So if you can set him up to do ignore defense, he's great. Otherwise, it's very difficult to use. Dark Sniper, I have a couple built, but I don't use him very often. He's a nice damage dealer, has some good uses in specific content, siege offense. Other than that, I don't use him. Dark Gargoyle, I'd love to use him. Haven't found a use for him yet. Dark Tank, maybe. Dark Steel Commander, Dark Ezio. We're going to put him a little bit lower. Has an interesting idea, but his kit really isn't that useful. Speaking of kits that are not useful, the Dark Jokabi Princess. She does have an AoE defense break on skill 2 with a passive that increases attack bar when units are, I think when she's under inability, or maybe the other unit has to be under inability. I haven't found a use for her, so she's kind of low on the tier list. Dark Joker, I actually don't have him. I haven't used him on any accounts, but he just became available in the Hall of Heroes, so I am definitely going to figure out how to use him. I don't think he's in the top 10. And also, I think he was like just available a month or two ago. So maybe he deserves to be up here, but we currently have 4, 8, 12, 13 units up here. We got to remove 3. So what you pick out of these 13 units is completely up to what your monster box looks like. You need to make those decisions out of these 13. But for me, I already have Rand, so she's going to go down 1. I already have 5 copies of Isabel. I'm going to leave her up there for you guys to decide, because she's my favorite LD4 out of all the Hall of Hero units. Light Madeline might drop down for me. And so it's 4, 8, 10, 11. If I had to remove one more, it would probably be Diva. Very good unit, but is she better than these units up here? Probably not. So anyway, that is my 11th anniversary Hall of Heroes tier list, relevant to 2025, and things will change with balance updates. But if you're an LD only account, I hope this really helps you, especially if you're kind of new to being LD only or you're thinking about starting them. This is the best time in the world to start an LD only account if you haven't done it. Getting those 10 units right up there instantly makes it a good account that is definitely feasible up to Fighter 3 in RTA and G1 in Siege Battle. So if Summoner's War has been around for 11 years. If you've always wanted to start an LD only account, do it now, get those units. So anyway, I hope you found this useful. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, see ya.